my name is Ava. Welcome to my channel. Today I wanted to make a video about bloating and about having a flat tummy and how you can get that. It's actually something very, very tricky because a lot of people don't realize how bloated they are. Some people think they need to lose weight when in fact they're just bloated and full of gas and full of, undigested matter in their stomachs, and there's good reasons for that. The first tip I would say to someone who feels bloated or is bloated or trying to beat the bloat is don't go to bed with a full stomach. First of all, the best and most reparative sleep happens between 10 p.m. and 1 a.m. And if you go to bed with a full stomach or eat too late at night, what you're doing is actually robbing yourself of precious sleep that you need and precious regeneration. This is when your body does its best work at night between the hours of 10 p.m. and 1 a.m. So don't go to bed with a full stomach, and because it's not as regenerative. But what happens in the morning is when you wake up, you still are not fully digested your meal, especially if you had some meat or something that takes many, many hours to digest. And then you're gonna have maybe a smoothie or some bread or whatever it is you're having. You're gonna put that right on top of the food that you're still digesting, and that's gonna cause a tremendous amount of gas, fermentation, and discomfort. So be very mindful of eating late at night. That's probably my number one tip. You will not believe how much better you do. And do this, to try for yourself. Go to bed with a full stomach, wake up in the morning, your stomach is not flat. Go to bed with your food digested, so ideally you're having your last meal of the day no later than 6 p.m. Wake up the next morning, your tummy's gonna be nice and flat. Okay, so that's number one tip. Okay, the second tip I wanna share with you is the importance of food combining. People don't realize how huge this is. Some foods don't combine well with others. Some people don't believe in food combining. They think it's a bunch of hocus pocus, but really there is a huge amount of science behind it. Some foods together, they're a bomb that's gonna go off in your stomach and it's gonna fill you up with gas, discomfort, and fermentation. So unfortunately, a lot of our more popular dishes in our culture, especially in the Western world, are terrible food combinations, such as spaghetti and meatballs, steak and potatoes. Anytime you have carbs and carbohydrates on the same plate, you are gonna get gassy and you are gonna create a lot of fermentation in your stomach. The reason for this is because different foods take different enzymes to digest, and carbs and protein required completely set of different enzymes to digest these. And when you combine them together, like I said, it's like a time bomb waiting to happen in your stomach. So be very mindful about food combining. Okay, the third tip that I think is super important is the importance of chewing your food properly. And I know in our world, in our society, we just eat really quick, myself included. We just eat and eat and eat really quickly because sometimes we have 30 minutes to eat, or we have to gulp something down, or we just have to get going. And unfortunately, that is a terrible thing for our food and for our digestive process and for how many nutrients we absorb from our food. And ultimately, it's a disaster for bloating and fermentation and gas. So be very mindful. When you eat food, digestion actually starts in your mouth. That's when some of the first enzymes are released. They're in your saliva and they start helping break up the food. So be very mindful when you gulp things down. Be very mindful about this. Meditate, bless the food, be thankful, and give yourself permission to enjoy your meal and chewing every single bite that you swallow. Okay, the next tip that I say is very important is don't drink with your meals. Wait till after 30 minutes after your meal, and if you're gonna drink, which is a great thing to do, to drink some water or juice before you eat, do so right before your meal, but not during. The reason for these is because what you're doing with the drinking is you're diluting the digestive juices in your stomach, and you're actually gonna not absorb as much nutrients in the food, and you're gonna bloat yourself up because digestion is not at its optimal. So make sure that you do not drink with your meals. Okay, the next tip would be very important what you eat after a meal. This is huge. For so long, I did not understand why I had a very healthy dessert, such as maybe an apple or a banana, and that gave me gas almost immediately. Okay, the reason for this is because fruit should never be had after a meal. It should always be at the beginning. Again, something that's runs very counterculture in our society. But fruit is a terrible thing to have after a meal. Why? Because it just sits on top of the food you just ate, and it's just gonna sit there fermenting and causing gas and discomfort. When should fruit be eating? Before. Every meal, just think of it this way. The fastest food to digest goes first, and as the meal progresses, it should be moving on to the heavier foods. Think of your digestive system as a highway that goes, from your mouth to your behind. And when you eat something like a steak or a heavy meal of rice, peas, things like this, beans, it's like a slow moving truck going through your digestive system. If you have a banana or a pear or an apple after, which is like a fast moving vehicle in the highway, it's just gonna run into the food that you're still digesting, the slow moving vehicle. So make sure that you eat the fast food first and the slow food after, okay? And my last tip would be to realize that it takes a long time to adjust to something new. For instance, I went raw vegan 2 years ago, and for the first few months, I was extremely uncomfortable because my body was trying to adapt to my new way of eating, and this does not happen overnight. And again, give yourself permission to be bloated some days because you ate a terrible food combination or whatever it is. It happens, and you'll get the hang of it as you go along. But don't think that the food combination thing is not important, because it's hugely important. But again, even if you've perfectly food combined, even if you chewed your food, even if you didn't drink with your meals, even if you did everything perfect, sometimes you're just gonna be bloated and you don't even know why. What happened? What did I do? Why am I looking like I'm 6 months pregnant? It's because your body's trying to adjust to something very new and something very different. Okay, so I hope this video has been helpful to you. If you've appreciated what I had to say, please give it a thumbs up. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate all of you guys watching, and thank you very much, and have a blessed day. Thank you. Bye-bye.